I'm Chauncey Glover, and now on the evening news, the Houston police chief is promising a thorough investigation into an officer-involved shooting last week on the city's east side that ended with one man dead. This all after an eyewitness video of the shooting surfaced. ABC13's Jessica Willey has more.
Yeah, 5 officers, including a sergeant, are on administrative desk duty, which is normal after an officer-involved shooting. An investigation is underway. Houston Police Chief R. Acevedo talked about that investigation this afternoon and also addressed the video on social media. He says it is hard to watch and raises concerns. But we first take you back to the scene. That was the final gunfire at this shooting in East Houston on Gazin Street. A barrage of bullets, the end to what Houston Police Chief R. Acevedo says was a 14-minute confrontation between officers and 27-year-old Nicholas Chavez. Police got the call around 9 p.m. on April 21st, responding to a suicidal person, according to that call, who was armed and running in and out of traffic. Acevedo says the man had a sharp object, which ended up being a piece of rebar. He says he threatened officers and came at them with it and also stabbed himself. They fired bean bags and used tasers on him first and even shot him twice before the fatal gunshots. That was during the bulk of the confrontation. The last 30 seconds or so captured on a citizen's cell phone video now posted on YouTube. The chief describes what led up to it.
He throws what now has been determined to be a piece of rebar, throws it down, but then he starts with the taser on him. He starts reeling the taser in. He's given, and you can't hear or see from that little social media clip, commands that please do not grab that taser, grab that taser. Again, he does not comply with that, and what you don't see, but you will see on other videos, on body-worn camera videos, is he reels it in, grabs it, and that's when you see on social media the final discharge. That again, I've got a lot of questions because we hold our people to standards, they're trained, and we're going to look at everything, and we'll come back with our findings, both criminally and administratively, as soon as we can.
And the chief says they have 70 videos from body-worn cameras of officers who were there that night. They are still reviewing those videos. The district attorney's office is also investigating, and the man's family, the family of Nicholas Chavez, sent us that video and asked us to investigate. Reporting from HPD headquarters in downtown, Jessica Willey, ABC13 Eyewitness News.
Jessica, thanks. Now, as the state prepares to reopen, we're still tracking COVID-19 cases right here in our area. Let me show you this look where we stand tonight. More than 9,600 people in Southeast Texas have tested positive for COVID-19, while more than 3,000 people have recovered since the pandemic began. More than 210 of our neighbors have died, sadly. Today, we checked in with local leaders and health officials on how they plan to curb the virus. ABC13's Maya Shea has more.
In just 2 more days, Houston area restaurants and stores, in fact, restaurants and stores around the state will open. And the question is our area prepared to handle a possible increase in cases? Tonight, the county judge saying she wished she had more time. In fact, if you are out in the Houston area, you're seeing more people are out every day. You see a few more shoppers in the stores. You see a few more cars on the road. Last week, both the mayor and the county judge said the Houston area curve has flattened, but they now worry we could see an upward trend. Just yesterday, county commissioners approved the hiring of 300 contact tracers to help contain the spread of new cases. Today, the judge says experts tell her that the region can handle 100 new cases a day without overwhelming the healthcare system. But she says we're awfully close to that part already, and that has her worried.
We can handle around 100 cases between the city and county every day, and that's what we got to ramp up to, and that's manageable and reasonable. And beyond that, to some degree, no matter how many contact tracers you have, you just can't contain. Now, already the past couple of days, we've been almost hitting that number, which is very concerning, and that's what we hope is just something of an outlier, because we weren't there before. So we're going to be watching closely, of course, in close communication with the state, and do everything humanly possible to try and get this to succeed.
Judge Hidalgo and frankly every other local officials have told us the only way to ensure this reopening works is cooperation from the rest of us. That means if you can, please still stay home. If you are out, they're asking you to please wear a mask or some sort of facial covering. And if you're going to hang out with people when you're out, make them members of your family, people you have been around already. They are urging you to continue to practice social distancing because that is so very crucial. Reporting from the near west side, Maya Shea, ABC 13, Eyewitness News.
Maya, thanks. Well, COVID-19 testing continues across Southeast Texas, and this week, mobile testing opened up in some of Houston's most vulnerable, undeserved communities. Worthing High School in Sunnyside is the latest to offer tests to the residents there. ABC 13's Erica Simon has more.
Mayor Sylvester Turner says that having adequate testing in these communities will ultimately benefit the entire city. Now, here at Cashmere Multi-Service Center, testing maxed out at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. The bottom line is a lot of people simply didn't have the transportation to make it across town for another testing site. So testing coming to them is a godsend.
I'm not the one to sit around and procrastinate.
78-year-old Dorothy Wanza prides herself on being proactive. When mobile testing opened up at a site a few minutes from her, she took advantage of the free service.
And I was really glad that it did come to the neighborhood, because for those that did not have transportation, they came together. You could pick them up if they needed a ride.
Miss Dorothy is spot on. A lot of folks in Cashmere Gardens didn't have the means to make it to another part of Houston to be tested for COVID-19. That's why Mayor Sylvester Turner was determined to help often forgotten about communities where there's a high number of underlying health conditions and folks are simply trying to survive day to day. We were there Wednesday in Sunnyside when the mobile testing site opened at Worthing High School.
What happens in Sunnyside can impact the east, west, north, south sides. It can impact all sides.
For various reasons, the coronavirus has overwhelmingly affected blacks and Hispanics. Mayor Turner broke down some of the numbers when we asked about it.
Of the 52 people who have died in the city of Houston, about 75% of them have been African Americans and Hispanics. 50 of them have died with underlying medical conditions.
No one knows what lies ahead with COVID-19, but one thing leaders say we need more of to really get a gauge on where the virus is: more testing. Miss Dorothy agrees.
If you can, you need to get tested.
Testing here in Cashmere and in Sunnyside will happen each day through May 3rd. You don't have to have an appointment for either one. We also know that a testing site was set up in East End and one is scheduled for Hiram Clark. At that point, we're told the mobile testing will then rotate across the north side and other much needed areas of Houston. Reporting in Cashmere Gardens, Erica Simon, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Erica, thanks. And this Friday, restaurants begin to reopen their doors. The governor's executive order allows dining rooms to reopen, but at 25% capacity. We spoke to some restaurant owners today who tell us they're focused on safety measures. That includes making sure employees are wearing masks, social distancing in dining rooms, and putting out hand sanitizer for customers. Other owners tell us they do plan to hold off on bringing back staff because they want to gauge the demand when the stay-at-home order is lifted Friday. Well, one of Houston's most popular restaurant groups is going one step further to make sure employees are safe before reopening. All 10 Good Company restaurants have been closed for about a month now, and even with to-go services, business is down 85%. Company owners say they're now waiting until next week to reopen their dining rooms because they need time to test each employee for COVID-19.
We've been in our communities that we serve for over 4 decades, and we're taking a long-term approach. It's one of those things that we're only as good as the communities we serve.
Now, the mobile health unit will provide daily temperature checks and random COVID tests for employees for as long as it is necessary. And the COVID-19 pandemic continues, as does the need for food for many families. Today, another food distribution site opened in Cypress at the Berry Center. ABC 13's Stephen Romo has more for us tonight.
Yeah, the food bank says every time they hold one of these food distribution events, the demand continues to increase. They think it is because even more people are being laid off or furloughed. Cars lined up for miles outside Cy-Fair ISD's Berry Center hours before the 2 p.m. food giveaway was set to start.
Yeah, it did actually surprise me how many cars started lining up so early.
The school district let the Houston Food Bank hold the massive distribution event in the stadium parking lot.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
After their former location, the Houston Premium Outlets in Cypress reopened its retail stores with takeout service.
We're planning as long as the Berry Center will have us to be here.
Nicole Lander with the food bank says the need for a food assistance continues to increase.
We anticipate that because the need every week we do this, the need grows because of layoffs and furloughs.
They're giving away 100 pounds of food for each vehicle, hoping to help 7,500 families by the day's end.
So I've got my daughters and friends here.
They're accomplishing this with the help of the National Guard and an army of volunteers.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. It's very good, busy.
And they've relocated here to the Berry Center, and they hope to stay here just as long as Cy-Fair ISD will let them. Stephen Romo, ABC13 Eyewitness News.
Steve, thanks. Well, last night we had a stormy night, but today was absolutely beautiful. Let's get a quick check on the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Travis Herzog.
Some amazing weather blowing into southeast Texas for the next few days with dry weather until about a week from now. We are expecting this evening temperatures are going to be dipping off into the 60s by 9, the upper 50s as we head towards sunrise, bottoming out in the mid 50s for most of us. Drop it down to 55 in Houston, 51 degrees in Conroe. Might even get into the upper 40s by the time we get towards central Texas and especially north central Texas. Galveston, you'll drop down to 66 with a light north breeze continuing through the night. So the weather system that brought us the big line of storms earlier this morning continues to push off to the east. And in the pipeline, there's nothing immediately coming our way to bring us a chance of rain. In fact, there's a huge heat ridge building across the desert southwest, and that will build into the Lone Star State for the weekend ahead. So when you look at our highs tomorrow, yeah, they get into the 90s in West Texas, low 80s in our part of Texas. But fast forward to the weekend, Saturday, triple-digit heat, pretty common in the western half of the state. We're getting close to 90 degrees, and we get there on Sunday with a high of 91. So enjoy the next couple of crisp, cool mornings in the 50s and pleasant, dry afternoons with sunshine, because it all changes this weekend. Not only will it get hot, but it gets humid as well, meaning lows only around 70. And when you factor the heat and humidity together, you get something called the heat index. That'll be near 100 on Tuesday. Then Wednesday of next week, there's a 30% chance of another round of thunderstorms as the next front blows in.
Travis, thank you, and thank you for getting caught up on the evening news. Be sure to join us tonight at 10 o'clock on ABC 13. Have a great night, friends. Be safe and stay healthy.